They came from Manila, they came from Melbourne, they came from Birmingham, Berlin, and Toronto. Nurses, engineers, students, and families. The Filipino diaspora mobilized like never before. And when the tickets went on sale, they vanished within hours. Eala has done the impossible on the court. But off the court, something even more extraordinary is unfolding. The Eala Effect, the phenomenon that has turned a 21-year-old from Quezon City into a global sensation, has reached its peak at the most prestigious tournament in tennis. For the first time in Wimbledon history, tickets to watch a player in the early rounds sold out faster than the finals. Queues stretched for miles. The All England club was overwhelmed. And even the world number one, Aryna Sabalenka, was left stunned by what she witnessed. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. This isn't just about tennis. It's about a nation finding its voice. It's about a diaspora proving that distance means nothing when one of their own is making history. Is this the greatest show of support in Wimbledon history? Or just the beginning of something even bigger? The phones at the All England Club started ringing at 6 a.m. and never stopped. The Wimbledon queue, a hallowed British tradition that draws thousands of dedicated fans each year, had never seen anything like it. By 8:30 a.m., more than 10,000 people had already lined up. But something was different this year. Something none of the tournament organizers had anticipated. They came from every corner of the globe. Nurses from Birmingham, engineers from Berlin. Students from Melbourne, families from Toronto, Filipino fans from across the diaspora had mobilized with a single mission: to watch Eala make history. The demand for tickets to watch Eala was unlike anything Wimbledon had ever seen. Within hours of going on sale, tickets vanished. Every seat in Court 12 where Eala was scheduled to play her opening match against Renata Zarazua was gone. The online ticketing system crashed multiple times. The phone lines were jammed. The All England Club was forced to issue a statement. We are experiencing unprecedented demand for tickets. We apologize for any inconvenience and are working to resolve the issue. But it wasn't just the volume of requests that stunned officials, it was the source. The vast majority of the demand came from Filipino fans, both those living in the UK and those who had traveled thousands of miles to watch their hero. One fan who had traveled from Manila to London told reporters, "I've been saving for this moment for 2 years. I don't care about the money. This is history." Another fan who had flown from Dubai added, "When Eala plays, it's not just a match. It's a celebration of everything we are as Filipinos." Eala herself was stunned by the turnout. "I was really surprised," she said after her first round win. "Well, the Filipinos keep surprising me in good ways. I know how notoriously difficult it is to get tickets to this event. To have what I would call a full house of Filipinos is amazing. I never would have thought that at Wimbledon I would have a home crowd. Super thankful, and I really enjoyed it." The ticket rush was just the latest chapter in a phenomenon that had been building for months. A phenomenon that had transformed a 21-year-old from Quezon City into one of the most popular athletes in the world. A phenomenon that the tennis establishment was still struggling to understand. And as the gates of the All England Club finally opened, the invasion of SW19 was about to begin. When the gates of the All England Club finally swung open on June 30, 2026, the groundskeepers weren't ready for what they saw. A sea of red, white, and blue flooded through the entrances. Flags bearing the Philippine sunburst appeared in every corner of the grounds. Chants in Tagalog echoed across the manicured lawns, mixing with the unmistakable sound of a nation finding its voice on the world's most prestigious tennis stage. It wasn't just Manila that had shown up. It was nurses from Birmingham who had traded their hospital shifts for center court, engineers from Berlin who had taken leave from their desks, students from Melbourne who had drained their savings accounts, families from Toronto who had packed their bags and their flags. Wherever Eala plays these days, the Philippines seems to show up with her. "It's next level," said former pro and ESPN commentator Mary Jo Fernandez. "She brings a whole new demographic and crowd to watch our sport." On Court 12, the scene was unlike anything Wimbledon had ever witnessed. The famous All England Club, with its traditions of quiet applause and restrained decorum, had been transformed into a raucous celebration of Filipino pride. Filipino fans came in droves and packed the stands, giving Eala a de facto home crowd which she didn't think she'd get at Wimbledon. Eala herself was overwhelmed. "I know how notoriously difficult it is to get tickets to this event, so to have what I would call a full house of almost Filipinos is amazing," she said. "I never would have thought that at Wimbledon I would have like a home crowd, so super thankful, and I really enjoyed that." The support was unlike anything she had ever experienced. The atmosphere of the game really changes when there are a lot of people cheering for me or for my opponent. I am happy when there are a lot of Filipinos. There was an unmistakably Filipino atmosphere in the small arena. driven not only by her large contingent of enthusiastic supporters waving the Philippine flag. Her team and family also wore T-shirts featuring the sampaguita, the national flower of the Philippines. Eala herself wore a custom Nike visor featuring a Tagalog phrase that translates as, "Every dream begins as a seed. Once it grows, it cannot be stopped." I think it's so sentimental to be able to wear things or to carry parts of my culture with me on court, Eala added. And for me to be able to represent the Philippines in Wimbledon and in the biggest stages in the world, it means so much to me. The crowd on court 12 was packed to capacity. It was, as Eala herself described it, a full house of almost all Filipinos. The flags waved, the chants roared, the energy was electric. And when Eala walked onto the court, the roar that greeted her was so loud it could have been heard back in Manila. The Philippines had arrived at Wimbledon, and the tennis world would never be the same. The invasion of SW19 wasn't just about tickets and queues. It was about something far deeper, a global community finding its voice on the world's biggest stage. The Filipino diaspora is one of the largest in the world, approximately 13 million Filipinos living overseas. They are nurses in London, engineers in Berlin, seafarers on cargo ships, caregivers in Dubai, domestic workers in Rome, and students in Melbourne. They are spread across every continent, working tirelessly to support families back home, and they have found something that unites them like nothing else in recent memory. Alexandra Eala. Wherever Alexandra Eala plays these days, the Philippines seems to show up with her. The Los Angeles Times reported, "It isn't just Manila. It's nurses from Birmingham, engineers from Berlin, students from Melbourne, families from Toronto. A flag appears in the stands, then another. Then chants in Tagalog almost overnight. A player from a country with the world's 13th largest population of about 113 million, but with almost no professional tennis tradition, is carrying one of the globe's biggest diasporas from tournament to tournament." The numbers were staggering. Eala's pre-tournament news conference at the Australian Open had been watched online by 171,000 people, dwarfing the numbers for Carlos Alcaraz, Coco Gauff, and even Aryna Sabalenka. A 21-year-old from the Philippines was generating more interest than Grand Slam champions. Her matches had turned stadiums around the world into Filipino home courts. When Eala plays, we all get together and we all watch to support her as a group of people. We plan our dinners around that. One Filipino fan's words captured the sentiment perfectly. It wasn't just about tennis. It was about a community. It was about pride. It was about a nation that had found something to believe in. Eala herself had learned to expect the unexpected. "Honestly, no place is unexpected anymore," she said with a laugh, noting she was once approached by a family of fans seeking photographs while swimming off the Philippine resort island of Boracay. But even she was stunned by what happened at Wimbledon. The fans didn't just show up, they took over. They turned the most prestigious tournament in tennis into a celebration of everything the Philippines had achieved through this remarkable young woman. "I think the atmosphere today was amazing. It was electric, respectful, and everything I could have hoped for," Eala said. "Of course, I also want to give them my time. It's extremely hard to get tickets here at Wimbledon, so I'm very happy with the support." The Philippines, the world's 12th most populous country, has had relatively few female sports stars in recent years. Boxing icon Manny Pacquiao and gymnast Carlos Yulo have carried the flag on the global stage. Now, Alex Eala had joined them, and she was bringing an entire diaspora with her. The world number one had seen it all. Grand Slam finals, packed day stadiums, Roar Center Court. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared Aryna Sabalenka for what she witnessed at Wimbledon 2026. The Belarusian star, a two-time Grand Slam champion and the top seed at the All England Club, had been watching Eala's run with growing fascination. She had seen the Filipinas' stunning grass court season. She had seen the victories over world number 2 Elena Rybakina and number 8 Alina Svitolina. She had seen the historic seeding that made Eala the first Filipino in tennis history to earn a Grand Slam seed. But when she walked onto the grounds of the All England Club and saw the sea of red, white, and blue, Sabalenka was left absolutely stunned. The queues stretched for miles. The stands were packed with Filipino flags. The chants in Tagalog echoed across every court. It wasn't just Court 12 that had been taken over, it was the entire tournament. Every match Eala played, the fans followed. Every court she walked onto, the flags appeared. Sabalenka, who had faced her own share of passionate fan bases, couldn't believe what she was seeing. "It's incredible," she reportedly said to her team. "I've never seen anything like this. They're everywhere." The numbers backed up her shock. Eala's pre-tournament press conference had drawn record viewership. Her matches had sold out faster than any other players, including Sabalenka's own matches. The Filipino fans had turned Wimbledon into a home tournament for a player who had never even reached the second round at the All England Club before this year. As one report noted, the 21-year-old Filipina is followed by passionate supporters waving national flags and singing in Tagalog, turning courts around the world into something resembling home. Even the BBC had taken notice. In little more than a year, Eala had gone from promising prospect to the face of tennis in a country of 113 million people with virtually no professional pedigree in the sport, backed every week by one of the world's biggest diasporas. Sabalenka, who had been on a mission to add Wimbledon to her Grand Slam collection, found herself sharing the spotlight with a phenomenon she had never anticipated. The Eala Effect had arrived at Wimbledon, and even the world number one was left stunned by what she saw. The invasion of SW19 wasn't just about tickets and queues. It was about something far deeper, a nation finding its voice on the world's biggest stage. A community proving that love for one of their own could move mountains and fill stadiums. For decades, tennis has been a sport dominated by players from traditional tennis powers: the United States, Europe, Australia. The idea that a player from the Philippines, a country with no history of Grand Slam success, could generate this level of passion and support seemed unimaginable just a few years ago. But Eala has changed all that. She has shown that greatness doesn't have a passport, that talent can emerge from anywhere. That the future of tennis lies not in the traditional powers, but in the untapped markets around the world. The Filipino diaspora has proven that they will follow their heroes anywhere, and that they will spend whatever it takes to be part of the moment. The Eala Effect has already been felt at the highest levels of the sport. Tournament directors have been forced to adapt. Show courts have been reassigned. Scheduling has been overhauled. The WTA, which had never seen anything quite like it, has been left scrambling to keep up with the demand. Former pro and ESPN commentator Mary Jo Fernandez put it simply, it's next level. She brings a whole new demographic and crowd to watch our sport. But for Eala herself, the support is about something far deeper than numbers. It's about the connection she feels to her roots, the pride she carries for her country, the responsibility she feels to represent her people with dignity and grace. The Filipinos, we have such a strong sense of community, she said earlier in the year. I feel like when one of us does well, or one of us is succeeding, we all have that shared sense of pride. And as she walked off court 12, through the sea of red, white, and blue, she carried that pride with her. The invasion of SW19 was just the beginning. The Eala Effect was here to stay, and the tennis world would never be the same. The tickets had vanished, the flags had waved, the chants had echoed. And Eala had proven that she was more than just a tennis player. She was a symbol of hope for millions of Filipinos around the world. Was this the greatest show of support in Wimbledon history, or just the beginning of something even bigger? They came from Manila. They came from Melbourne. They came from Birmingham, Berlin, and Toronto. Nurses, engineers, students, and families. The Filipino diaspora mobilized like never before. And when the tickets went on sale, they vanished within hours. The Eala Effect, the phenomenon that has turned a 21-year-old from Quezon City into a global sensation, has reached its peak at the most prestigious tournament in tennis. For the first time in Wimbledon history, tickets to watch a player in the early rounds sold out faster than the finals. Queues stretched for miles. The All England club was overwhelmed. Eala herself was stunned by the turnout. I was really surprised. Well, the Filipinos keep surprising me, and surprising me in good ways. I know how notoriously difficult it is to get tickets to this event. To have what I would call a full house of Filipinos is amazing. I never would have thought that at Wimbledon I would have a home crowd. The invasion of SW19 wasn't just about tickets and queues. It was about something far deeper. A global community finding its voice on the world's biggest stage, nurses from Birmingham, engineers from Berlin, students from Melbourne, families from Toronto. A flag appears in the stands. Then another, then chants in Tagalog. Almost overnight, a player from a country with almost no professional tennis tradition is carrying one of the globe's biggest diasporas from tournament to tournament. Even the world know. One, Aryna Sabalenka, was left stunned by what she witnessed. It's incredible, she reportedly said. I've never seen anything like this. They're everywhere. Former pro and ESPN commentator Mary Jo Fernandez put it simply, it's next level. She brings a whole new demographic and crowd to watch our sport. The Eala Effect had arrived at Wimbledon, and the tennis world would never be the same. The tickets had vanished. The flags had waved. The chants had echoed, and Eala had proven that she was more than just a tennis player. She was a symbol of hope for millions of Filipinos around the world. Was this the greatest show of support in Wimbledon history, or just the beginning of something even bigger?